We are back. It's Friday. It's ahead of the game with Sports Chat. Jez, Ryan, Tucker, Sport
Wow,
Take.
if that doesn't lock people, nothing will. There's not a better intro, more hyped intro on the internet than that. No Aussie
All right.
Sports Chat intro better. Let's smash it, buddy. Get
Yeah,
into
I've
it.
learned. Hook him in straight away. We're going to talk
Okay.
about shit that's happened. We're going to talk about what you're watching. Don't forget to click subscribe if you're watching it. And is that everything?
Yeah. I don't know. What are we
Fantastic
talking about?
content.
We're talking about NRL. We're talking about AFL, Thursday night games, weekend games, Formula One. That's what's coming at you.
Perfect. Let's hit it straight away.
Bang.
FP1, FP2 in the books at Suzuka.
Mm.
What are your first reactions?
I love I love the internet. It's just amazing, isn't it? It's like free practice one. We go straight into the whole Liam Lawson Sonoda debacle. Everyone's like, "Oh, Sonoda, he's come within 1/10 of Max Verstappen in free practice one. He's already proving that he's, got what it takes." And now he's third last in free practice two, and Liam Lawson finished fifth fastest of everybody in the Racing Bull. So it's like amazing what 2 hours can do. I can't wait to just jump on Facebook and social media now and see all the reactions that are coming back of the same people writing a completely different story 2 hours later about how Liam Lawson should be still in the Red Bull. But it's like, This is what happened. I don't think anything's changed. I think they made the driver swap. I'm not expecting anything different to the car. The car is going to finish likely in the same place that they did. If not, Liam Lawson will do a better job than Sonoda because he's good at Suzuka. He's raced in the Japanese Formula One series there. He's back in a car that's comfortable and easy to drive, and he'll finish in the top 10, where I don't think Sonoda has.
And there's a lot of pressure on Sonoda.
I don't know. Yeah.
In his home race, all eyes on him, the big switch.
Yeah.
They're going to be pumping him. And, it takes a lot of a person to be able to work under that pressure and deliver.
Yeah. And even naturally, even if he was still in the Racing Bull, it's still a massive weekend to be at your home track. You've got so much more publicity, especially for him, who's in like a satellite team that finishes, around the top 10, outside the top 10. You're not under this same interview social pressure that you're under during the whole weekend, the whole week. And now you've got carrying in this whole driving for Red Bull. Great for Red Bull and the sponsorship because they've cashed in as much as they wanted to do. The perfect timing. It's probably planned all along, conspiracy theorists in Formula One. But it's crazy. I'm not expecting any. I'm expecting Liam Lawson to be better, and I'm happy Piastri now. Piastri on top of the charts again. He didn't put in a flying lap in free practice one, so he finished 15th, but now he topped the charts. So
okay, you've done a write up on bets.com.au for this race?
Yeah, all the flavour is Aussie Kiwi flavour. I picked Piastri to pole and do what he did last race. Pole, come first, and Liam Lawson top 10.
Those two McLarens are very close in FP2 though. 4 1,000s. Is that what you say? When it's
4 100s, 5 100s basically. I think you go 10. You go 10 100,000.
10 100. Yeah. Sounds logical.
But then they're 4/10 ahead of everybody else, basically. So they're just so much quicker. And Suzuka is a fast track, and the McLaren's fastest. So I think it should be a pretty cruisy weekend for them, but you got to stay out of trouble at Suzuka. And I think the benefit for the rest of the field is that there's likely going to be a lot of crashes. So I think you're going to see a lot of yellow flags, and they're going to get brought back together. So if McLaren pull ahead, safety car is going to bring them all back together. And then you never know, off a restart or something like that, you compact the field, they get caught in traffic, get caught in a crash. That's going to be the saving grace for everybody, I think.
Only one DRS zone. What are passing opportunities like in this track? I don't really have a great idea.
There's not a lot, but I think you get a lot because of the restarts. I think
Right.
doing my like research, it's like there's nothing under braking, but because the track is so unforgiving, if you go off, it's tough. So I
We've
think you end up
seen
in the
that with Dylan.
sand. Yeah, that's right. Doohan had a really big high speed crash. Like he just clipped the back. Like it didn't even look like he even went onto the sand. I think it was, but there's just a little bit of sand on the edge of the track, and then just lost traction coming in, and then hit it pretty high speed. But I think that's where people are getting a lot of overtakes in Suzuka. It's more about that than under heavy braking through DRS. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, it's going to be a very interesting race. I think
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
qualifying will give us a pretty good indication of what
Mm.
the finishing results could be, just in plain pace. And like you said,
Yeah.
if not if but when the safety cars and the yellow flags come out, it's a two stopper, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's going
Yeah.
to be
It's
a
really,
bit of
really hard on
strategy
the
at play.
tires. Yeah. So it's
I
that
think
as
if
well. I think, sorry, there's been a bit like you get a bit of tire degradation if you
yeah,
stay out too long. So there's a lot of teams that do a lot of undercutting and because it's so high speed and there's so much pressure on the tires with a lot of like swinging bends that just tear the tires apart.
and they go in
Um,
two different directions. A third of the
mm,
track's been resurfaced, so there's going to be that
mm,
difference between
yeah,
the old track and the new track, which obviously affects tire deg as well. Like it's going to be
yeah,
exciting, and
yeah,
this is the type of racing that you want to see. You would like to be a little bit more maybe space for overtaking, but all the other stuff around it is around the strategy. And then
yeah.
it's like, okay, Ferrari's
Mm.
done because they can't strategize.
Yeah.
So it's like, what what other teams are
Yeah.
left?
And then you got Mario Kart going on at the back of the field with all the rookies that have never
Yeah,
driven at Suzuka on this tough track. So
exactly.
it's like there's bananas everywhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's exciting. Going to be a good race.
yeah. Um, let's hit the AFL. I missed the majority of the Collingwood and Carlton game, but you watched it, and we've
Mm,
had a bit of a chat
mm,
about it. What's happening with the Blues? Like
yeah.
they rebuilt their club from the ground up, and they have a dual Brownlow medalist. They have the Coleman medalist. They have talent coming out of their ears. They recruited from other clubs players that play
Mm,
key roles, but they can't win.
mm, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like I don't know. It's culture. Is it the game
Is it effort?
plan? You got to start. You got to start. I don't know. They're so good. They've been good in the first halves of these games. Like they even against Collingwood, they were the first quarter. They were the clear better side, and they were getting guys behind the ball. They were committed. They were pushing forward. They found Cano. Like and then can I kick one goal?
Kerner.
Like Kerno. Sorry, I'm so bad with names, so bad. But it's like, how does that happen? You've got all this talent,
Yeah,
but you can't seem to make it click. Like I
put it all
love
together.
Vossi, but is it time to start looking at that and see what
Yeah.
happens if you make a clear coaching change? Because he built a good culture there. He like what was it a couple of years ago when they had that run at the end of the season to make it into the finals, and was like, okay, they've got everything. And then duds last year, duds to start this year.
But it feels like there's a little bit of like, is it preparation that they can't, complete a game, and it's not just a one off, a temporary thing. It's like, okay, well, 4 games in a row now, you've
Mm,
bombed in the second half,
mm,
and what is it? Your fitness levels aren't there. Is it your mentality
mm,
that once you get under a bit of pressure, you break? Like these
mm,
things are addressable. Like it's not talent. Talent's not the problem
mm.
because we've seen them
What would
win. We've seen them be successful.
what would you do? Are you if you were chairman, are you taking heads already now
Like
at 0-4?
I think
Like
that
they've
the
averaged
important
22
thing
points in the second half to start the year.
I would want to know. I'd be asking questions of okay, why do we think like multiple people get some of the players in, get some of the coaches in, like okay, why
Mm,
is this happening? Why aren't we better? And if we're
mm,
all hearing the same thing, then we act on that. And whether it is, okay, well, we just run out of fuel, or we're running out of, we don't believe in ourselves, or whatever it could be, then that needs to be addressed. And it's
Yeah.
hard to see from the outside what it is, because there's so many factors at play. But
Yeah.
something needs to be done. Like I can't see a major difference. And you could say, like, there's these kind of runs in sports all the time, and most of the time you look at the other the teams that are on the other side. So one of the biggest ones that sticks in my mind is that Minnesota Vikings in the NFL that went on that crazy run of winning games by single, was it single
Mm.
points, 1 point
No,
victories,
single
or
scores
single scores.
under a touchdown.
Yeah. And like they
Yeah.
are on the positive side of that every single time. And you you don't question really, like, why are you only winning by by a single
Mm.
score? It's like, oh, they were so good to get out of the hole or something like that. But
Mm.
and then you can put a lot of those victories down to kind of single happenings. Okay, there was a drop, or the other team fumbled, or you know, it was raining, or it snowed, or there's so many
Mm.
different things. And it's like, okay, well, are Carlton in that spot? Is it okay? This game was, it was right there for the taking. The weather hampered both
Mm.
teams. It just happened
Mm.
that it hampered them a little bit more. And
Yeah.
last game it was injuries, and the game before that it was the sun. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they in a rut that's just circumstances? And once those
But
circumstances change and are different, all of a sudden we're going to see Carlton win 5 in a row.
yeah. Yeah, maybe look at the Hawks last year. Didn't they start like 2-5, or they might have even been 0-5?
Even the Lions, didn't
Um,
they start
like
really
yeah,
bad?
and you swing things around. So it's like you can swing the axe now, just because they had a tough. I think they had a tough end to 2024 as well. So has something carried over from that? I think that compiles it, and that's where you take away these circumstantial losses.
Mm,
But it can be that it's how much faith you have in the people you've got around at the club and how long
yeah,
you stick it out. But you don't want all of a sudden, if you're at 0-5 and you make some change and it's a positive change, then you've got time to make up for it. But if you wait another 5 rounds and you're 2-8, you're missing
yeah.
September footy and your season's over. So
Mm,
that's the pressure. The pressure now comes on the club to go, do we make a change, or do we stick this out? Like,
yeah.
be interesting to see what they do there.
Another team that's in a bit of a spot of bother, you
Mm.
could say, just pure. I don't know. I don't know how you frame it. The Sharks,
Mm.
again, another team with talent, another team that's got expectations to win, another
Mm.
team that's been at the top for a number of years. People having
Mm.
doubts about whether they're good enough to match it with top teams, and now we're seeing a bit of a rut, and they can't close
Mm.
games.
Yeah, it's tough because I was red hot on the Sharks at the start of this year. I'm like,
You had them to win the
bringing
minor
in
premiership, right?
yeah, bringing in Fanua Blake. I was like, this is gonna be a, a big plus for them. They have what it takes. Trindall and Hynes looked, they look good, but the problem is they look good in patches, and I think that's what's hurting them. And then it feels like when the game's on the line, I don't know, they just make the wrong decisions. The wrong
Mm,
guy gets the ball. Hynes can do, like, I think he's been better in defence, and he was been put under a lot of pressure from his defence. I think from when he played for New South Wales, and I don't
mm,
know, missed a tackle that lost the series, or lost the game that they were in the lead or whatever. But his defence has been better, but his kicking game he's doesn't have the kicking game of a top level half. And
no.
when the pressure's on, he can fuck up a kick. And last night it was, yeah, he just needed to put the ball in to play the territory game and put up a bomb that landed on the 30. The Raiders started on the 40, and then they were under pressure again. So it's like stuff like that. And it's like those types of decisions, they need to work out, okay, the ball needs to go to Trindall. Trindall's the better long kicker. Like, maybe it's not Hynes is getting the ball in a situation that he's not comfortable with. So is it coming from the dummy half or the structure of the team? All right, the ball needs to go here. Does Trindall need to put his hand up? It's just, there's so much going on where they're just making the wrong decisions in these high pressure moments. And I don't think you can put it down to just one person. It's everybody and the structure of their attack. They need to know in these situations, this is what we do. I think it comes down to maybe Craig Fitzgibbon's a little bit young. It's a tough situation. You've got the talent. How do you get the most out of them? He's come through and been with some of these best coaches and has the good coaching pedigree, but it's still his first job. So you've got to work out how you get the most out of you guys in the right situations. So, but yeah, I don't know where they go either, because they've got to be able to perform in these crunch moments. Otherwise, you're not even looking at them they'll make the 8, but will they challenge for the premiership? Probably not.
It's like their attack. I'm just going through the stats here now. They owned the territory against Canberra. They owned the possession. They had 200 more run meters, which, we know from writing all the articles on bets.com.au that what contributes to winning, run meters are a very large contributor to that. More post-contact meters, 30 tackles inside Canberra's 20 compared to 18 for the Raiders. They only gave away 2 penalties and got 7. But yeah, like had the same amount of attacking kicks, only one more kick in play, but over 100 meters less in kicking meters. And it's just the creativity around in the red zone, where if you compare Hynes and Trindall to or Trindall to Cody Walker, or Hynes to Cleary, or to Adam Reynolds, or like there's quite a difference in the creativity of plays and the direction and the leadership of this is how we score. Or Jerome Hughes, like you're seeing the difference. Melbourne had, I think it was 44 tackles or something inside the Dragons 20 and scored 1 try. Like Jerome Hughes doesn't.
Yeah, they had 33, pretty sure it was 33 tackles inside the 20 and 70% in the first half, and scored in the 38th minute. That was their only try. Like, crazy. Like, but it is exactly like what you're saying there. If you were to do one of these social media posts and you'd be tiering your halfbacks and 5/8s, those guys they're not there. They're not at the top of that pyramid at all. Like, they're, probably 3rd row down. If you
like, they're good at their own skill set, like the running and the dynamic broken play, bit like unpredictable, but that's not what you need. You don't need 2 of those guys. You don't need them at the same time in that spot. You need the clinical put pressure, build pressure, make the right decision. Now we're scoring.
Yeah, that's right. You need that game manager, and then and then you'll get the most out. It's like, if say Hynes, you keep Hynes, Trindall's the in and out. Hynes has won the awards, and you keep him. You want him to be running the ball. When he's running the ball and trying to be slick, using his skills that he had as a fullback back in Melbourne when he was covering for Pappenhausen. Like, you want that to come forward more. And if he doesn't have to worry about managing the game, and you give that to somebody else, say you bring someone like Jamal Fogarty to the club, as a free agent next year, and he just kicks, he manages the game, and you give the ball to Hynes inside the 20, and that's what he works on at training, and Fogarty works on his kicks. Like, simple. You'll get the most out of Hynes.
You say, like, Jamal Fogarty, 657 kick meters in that game, 1 line break assist.
Yeah.
Only 10 run meters. He doesn't run. He's a distributor. No. And he makes tackles, 34 tackles.
Yeah. He changes the game. You watch that game and you see how many times Fogarty's kicking got the Raiders out of trouble. And it happens every week. Fogarty gives them a chance to do this crazy shit like they did last night and win the game with probably be the try of the year. Has to be. because that was
outrageous.
incredible, and the effort. But that's like what you say as well with the Sharks. It's like, okay, where was the effort? Chris come from the other side of the field, ran past everybody, scored the try. Anyway,
Stupid for the
enough about
Tigers to let
yesterday.
go of Fogarty.
Yeah, add it to the list. They're one of these classic teams. It's like the Tigers. Just let everybody go and they become superstars.
That's it. All right, take a break. Look at what you're watching. Rightio. What big games are you watching this weekend, Poss?
I don't know. I'm red hot on the AFL. Obviously, being a Gold Coast boy, I'm very interested to see how this game between the Suns and the Crows is going to go on Saturday. I don't think it's as clear cut as a lot of people think. Everybody's on the Suns, and they've looked good, but I think so have the Crows. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out, and I'm pretty sure it was pretty close last year. I think they played up at People's Choice or People's First Stadium, and it was a wet weather game, but it was still close. And then the Suns kicked away. But I think in this one, I think both of these teams are so different, and it feels like there is something happening with the Crows this year. They've been able to link much better than they did last year. They had a real problem moving the ball in, getting quality ball inside 50, and it feels like they've certainly fixed that this season. They're finding the right target. It was like last year, you'd see open guys, on the perfect lead, and they just need to do a short kick, and they'll fucking pop it over the back into a 2-on-2 contest and stuff like that. But I think all that's been rectified, and they look dangerous. So interested to see how that game plays out. And then
it will be a very interesting matchup, and like these two teams rank at the top of the league for meters gained in their games. So they move the ball, and that could be something that is maybe a product of the scoring that they've had. But if you're just locking it into the forward half the whole time, getting it from a clearance out the middle and going forward, you're not gaining that many meters. You're moving the ball from the back to the forward and making those turnovers count. I think the Suns midfield and Matt Rowell, like he is on a career best season, and like I've written about him in my write up for this game, averaging 33 disposals, 70% efficiency in the middle, and like their clearance game, the Suns, and we spoke about, I think, it was maybe last week on this episode or something, like we've spoken about how they move the ball, and Tuke Miller, and you've been on Noah Anderson, like they have such a good linkage through that middle to then get forward to Ben King, and having King as a target, he's just a massive dude and with such safe hands. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I've got a close margin, 1-39 there, but there's definitely going to be some fireworks.
Yeah. I like that it's when you're hearing about sort of your own team, it's nice that you can sort of list off so many players in the midfield that are making a difference, and I think that's obviously what makes the difference. Like, instead of it just being sort of one or two guys.
Who would have thought we would have been talking about in round 4, a top of the table clash, 2 undefeated teams, the Gold Coast Suns and Adelaide Crows.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, crazy.
In the AFL, I think as well the Freo and the Bulldogs game will be interesting to see how those teams kind of match up, with the Bulldogs still struggling a bit from injury, but Freo still needing to get a couple of wins, and they're at home again, and they're strong there, and they've had, if I remember correctly, some pretty good wins over the Bulldogs in recent memory. You did that right up, but I'm trying to pull my memory.
I'm pretty sure they beat the Bulldogs. They split it last year when they played each other, but they beat the Bulldogs heavily, where the Doggies beat them by like 6 points or something, I think, in their win. So, but yeah, it is I think that's going to be also a really, really close game. I've backed the Bulldogs to cover in that with an 8.5 start, I believe. But I think it's gonna come down to just a few key moments, and you're waiting for Freo to get started. They've got everything that it takes, so you're just waiting for that game, and it's just going to be, I'll most likely be on the wrong end of that when it comes to the punt. But but yeah, because you're waiting for Brayshaw to keep getting started. Sarong had like 35 disposals last week, so it felt like they did turn a page, but it was against West Coast. So this is the real test to see if they've actually done that and they're getting their asses into gear. And Shea Bolton also to find his space at the club as well. Once he does that, I think they're going to lift dramatically once he sort of finds his feet there and what role he's going to play. So
all right, we're running out of time. One quick NRL game. I'm on the Eagles to win on the money line against the Storm as the underdogs at home. They've smashed Melbourne 3 games in a row at 4 Pines. What's your best NRL for the weekend?
I don't know. That's a tough call. The game's tomorrow.
Battle of the South Sunshine Stoush is a new Sunshine Stoush. The Titans and the Dolphins.
Nah, the Titans should take care of that. But this is a typical game that the Titans lose. You know, they've only beaten the Dolphins once of the 4 games that they've played, and that was the last game that they did play. So these are the typical games when you get your hopes up as a Titans fan, and then they just, they play well, and then they lose to a team that's winless. Right? I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't tipped that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I think an interesting talking point is obviously Latrell's return tomorrow night. See how he goes, and playing in the centres. Wayne Bennett's got him at the centres. They didn't want to drop Jai Gray, which is, I think, it could be a really, really good play. Jai Gray's been good.
But I don't think they can drop him now
centers
with no Jack White and no Campbell Graham.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you...
So
put Jai Gray in centre. He can't do that.
No. So he could be a force. And running off Cody Walker as a centre could be pretty beneficial for them. So be interesting to see how it goes and then what happens when they start getting healthy again.
Yeah. All right. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Thanks for the chat.
You too, mate.
Sound us off.
Pleasure was all mine. Sound us off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang with us and stay ahead of the game.